Thank you. I think this is a lot better. Like I said, we'll be starting imminently the next 30 seconds or so. So if you've got any recording devices, any microphones, etc., now is the time to place them at the front so that when we take off, it's a smooth takeoff and we're off and away. We will be starting imminently. And let me just take the opportunity to introduce our front table here. We've got to my far left, or to my far right, we've got the chairman of the Zimbabwe Football Association Normalization Committee. That's Mr. Lincoln Mutasa. In the middle, we've got the man who we have traveled here for, the new Warriors head coach, Micheal Nees. And then to my immediate right, we've got the CEO, the Secretary General of the Zimbabwe Football Association. That is Ms. Yvonne Manwa. And I think at this moment in time, let me hand over to Yvonne to get the program underway.
Good. Is it morning now? Is it morning or afternoon? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to acknowledge the presence of our Director General of the SRC, Ms. Elta Nongomasha. Thank you for coming through at short notice. To everyone else, to the NC, to members of the media, our distinguished guests and colleagues, good morning or good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us today for this very important occasion as we gather to unveil the head coach, the new head coach of our beloved Zimbabwe men's national team, the Warriors. It's a moment of renewed hope, I know, and ambition for Zimbabwean football as we continue to strive for excellence on the international stage. We're excited about the future, and the appointment of Mr. Micheal Nees as the head coach marks the beginning of a new chapter for the Warriors. His wealth of experience, deep understanding of the game, and passion for the development of talent align perfectly with our vision for the team. We are confident that under his leadership, the Warriors will rise to the new heights and make us all proud. As we embark on this journey together, I'd like to extend my sincere gratitude to all our stakeholders who've been very patient with us, our fans, and you, the media, for your support. Your commitment to Zimbabwe and football is invaluable, and we look forward to sharing many successes with you in the future. Without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Lincoln Mutasa, our chairman of the FIFA Normalization Committee, who will take us through the next part of the program and formally introduce you to our new head coach. Thank you very much, and over to you, Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Yvonne. DG, Madam Elta Nongomasha, ladies and gentlemen of the press, distinguished guests. You want me to sit down? Okay, I'll sit down so that I can look into your pictures. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all today as we take another significant step forward in the journey of our beloved Warriors. This is a moment of renewal, of ambition, and of unity as we prepare to reclaim our rightful place on the African football stage. Today it is with immense pride that I introduce to you the new head coach of the Zimbabwe men's national team, Mr. Micheal Nees. I don't know if I've pronounced that right, but he'll give us the proper pronunciation. Micheal comes to us with a wealth of experience, holding the prestigious UEFA Pro license and an MA degree in sports science, performance physiology and ethnology from the University of Heidelberg. His academic and professional credentials speak volumes about his dedication to the beautiful game. And we are confident that he is the right man to lead our Warriors as we embark on the journey to AFCON 2025. The upcoming qualifiers against Kenya and Cameroon will be no easy task, but I'm confident that with Micheal at the helm, we will rise to the occasion. We believe in his vision, his strategic approach, and his ability to inspire our players to perform at their very best. I want to make it unequivocally clear that the Zimbabwe Football Association will support Micheal in every feasible way to ensure his success. We understand that his success is our success and that of every Zimbabwean who shares the dream of seeing our warriors compete with pride and honor on the continental stage. We are committed to providing him with the resources, the support staff, and the environment he needs to build a team that we can all be proud of. In addition to that, I think I'd like to take this moment to also acknowledge the work that has been done by our technical committee, going through the numerous applications for this job. And in particular, within that technical committee, there was also members of the normalization committee, Messrs. Cynthia Malaba and Skumbuzo Ndebele, who we deliberated with day and night to try and come up with a philosophy, of what type of coach we wanted for this country. Did we want somebody who would come along with an entourage of people, or did we want somebody who would actually work with our people? And after so many deliberations, and more recently with the technical committee taking over, they have chosen the ideal candidate who, if the truth be told, had already been shortlisted way back before the end of the previous tenure of the normalization committee. So I really do owe some gratitude to those members, as well as the present technical committee who are actually running with everything. As we look to the future with hope and determination, I will ask you, players, fans, and stakeholders alike, to rally behind Micheal and the Warriors. Together we can achieve. Now, just a few words for Micheal. Micheal, Zimbabwe is a soccer crazy country, and we consist of 10 provinces within the country, but we also have another province called the diaspora, which is almost got another 10 similar diaspora provinces, whether we talk about America, London, UK, and South Africa, Tanzania. And as you take over this responsibility, we've always believed that there is a multitude of talent from all our provinces, all our districts, and even within the diaspora. And we look to you to be the chef who is going to come up with the right recipe to ensure success for our Warriors going forward. I have every confidence that your attitude, what you showed us, if you remain true to your values, we will deliver. And now, without further ado, it is my distinct honor to introduce you, everybody, to the new head coach of Zimbabwe men's national team, Mr. Micheal Nees. Micheal, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, dear representatives of the media, also dear representatives of the Ministry of Sport, if I introduce it right, Mr. Mutasa, Mrs. Manwa, dear colleagues from the Football Association. I hope all protocol respected, yeah? Okay, I hope. So thanks a lot for inviting me to this press conference to be introduced as the new national coach. I must admit, this is the most beautiful press conference I ever had. And in such a weather, under the trees, in this environment, it's really, it feels already very good. Yeah. And I'm really happy that, and really, I thank a lot for the trust which is given me to be selected for this position. And what I can say is definitely that I will give my very best to exploit the potential of the Zimbabwe football players and teams and all staff to get to the absolute, to achieve the absolute best what is possible. I'm really confident. I had some experience with Zimbabwe as an opponent in my career, and I was always impressed about the talent. And I'm really happy that I get now the opportunity to work with this talent. And I'm really looking forward, and really I wish we can all work together in one direction. I think you had in the past too many coaches or people giving directions in the football national team. I think there was over 20 times, I think you had in the last 20 years different coaches, and that's of course a little bit a lot, and I hope we can embark in a new journey with a little bit more stability and together in one direction. Thanks a lot for having me here for this press conference, and yes, I'm open for any questions.
Well, thank you, Coach. Members of the media, I think we're going to open the floor up to you. I've got the microphone. Just indicate by raising your hand, and I'll come over to you. Please just introduce yourself briefly, your name and which media organization you represent. Petros.
The name is Petros Kausio from Zim Papers Sports Hub. Sunshine City, Mr. Micheal Nees. I have one question for you and another for the chairman, Mr. Mutasa. So I'll start with yours, Mr. Nees. I just want to get some clarification from you as to what extent you have the autonomy and to be independent in terms of your selection from the cartels that have been that we have seen over the years, battling to try and influence selection to the Warriors. And then for you, Mr. Mutasa, you indicated that you chose a coach whom you said a candidate whom you said would be willing to work with our people, and not someone who will be bringing his trailer load. So I just wanted to establish if you have made any recommendations in terms of his backroom staff, in terms of his assistants.
If I understood it right, you asked about the autonomy of making decisions, or look, we discussed during the interview process and in the contract detail negotiation everything, and we clarified these issues. I would be an unwise coach not to consult with staff. I think you have also people here who understand a little bit football, the assistant coaches, the technical directors. They know the local players also very well, but of course someone has to make the final decision, and that is agreed to, and I'm very confident the way it was handled, the interviews and everything. I felt a very big trust to give me that, to receive that responsibility. Yeah. But it's clear, I will also consult with my assistant coaches or staff in any decisions. That is a normal process. But at the end, one has to make a decision, yes. And I think I have the autonomy.
Yeah, just to clarify, yes, it's consulting with staff. It's fine. My question is not so much on the staff or your assistants. That's why I use the word cartels. They are cartels of player agents, managers, you name them, who try to sneak in their people into national team selection. That's what I meant.
Yeah, look, even in my previous jobs, which is not exactly how it's in Wikipedia written, because Wikipedia has a lot of gaps. I had to deal with a lot of representatives of players. It's now a fact that players have managers or agents, and but they do not make the selection. You have to you have to select the best possible team for your upcoming challenges, and I had so far no problems with them. If I think he made it crystal clear to them always there's a line which shouldn't be crossed. And no, there's no chance. No? A player must perform on the pitch. He must show what he's able. For a team, he must show commitment. And if he shows that, then he's selected. And it's not a crime to have a representative, an agent. Absolutely not. That's their right. It's in the music industry also the same. They all have agents to get their gigs and their events. But of course, they do not make the selection. No? And sometimes we must also a little bit, how do you say, there is a lot of myth around in football that this makes a selection, that makes a selection, he makes a selection. My experience was in a certain way different. If you make it clear to the people, yes, you listen, but if you have a certain line which shouldn't be crossed. Yeah? And I had good relations with the representatives of players. Yeah, but for me, the performance on the pitch is decisive. Nothing else. And I have no family relations, no kinship relations here, so you can be assured I can be objective.
Thank you. Regarding your question on recommendations, maybe I can clarify the point about the issue of maybe can you go over the question again and I'll clarify the point that I want to highlight.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, you said that you chose a candidate who would be willing to work with your people as opposed probably to a candidate who was going to bring maybe his own trailer load of. Then I'm saying, have you made any recommendations of the assistance? Yeah.
Thank you. Let me clarify that. Football is a team sport. And my experience ever since I started playing, you always rock in as an individual amongst another group of people you don't know, and you make a team. Similarly, even at the leadership level, you tend to find that within the coaching structures, in Europe, in the developed countries, whatever, there is now this trend of a coach who comes in with his team of medics, team of masseurs and things like that. Maybe the game is heading that way, but I seriously believe that within our jurisdiction, we're still at that level where we really still want to build teams, and we want people who can come here and identify talent amongst us. Not necessarily that we would recommend or make any recommendations to them. They, the technical team, have to come up with a playing philosophy, and I don't see how one can actually optimize on a playing philosophy if you don't integrate with the locals. That's where I was meaning to say, look, we really wanted somebody who would take time to mingle and mix and help our own coaches to develop. Thank you.
Maybe I can add something.
Okay.
If it's possible, can I add something? I was yesterday transiting in Addis Ababa, and suddenly who crosses my path was my former assistant coach from the Seychelles Island when we played Zimbabwe in 2003. After 15 years, I've seen him for the first time. And suddenly another assistant coach. And actually one is now the head coach of the national team there. And I think wherever I worked, I really enjoyed working with the local people. And I must really say that. I didn't have the opportunity to travel with 5, 6, 7 staff, I must admit. But I do not regret a single day where I had to work with local staff in all the countries, because I made a lot of friends, a lot of good relations, and if you believe it or not, a lot of experiences of loyalty. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Of course, there are always instances where the one or other overstepped his authority. That I also experienced, and I can really say that. But overall, the experiences were very good with local staff, and you can make the research wherever I was. At the end, I think the local football benefited. That I can really say. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Rukuzo Wengeso from Star FM. This is the coach. Question for the coach. What exactly is your coaching philosophy? What exactly can the Zimbabwean fan expect as a style of play when we play Kenya next month?
Yeah, we play against two opponents. The first is Kenya. The second is we are under time pressure. Yeah. I could elaborate now a very complicated, nice football philosophy, but we must also be a little bit more realistic. The philosophy must be adjusted to the time available. If you have a team for 6 weeks together, like in a club environment, you can have, of course, a different impact. Like when you assemble a new team, a new technical team, and you have maybe only 3-4 days ready. So we must always bear that in mind. Yeah. The philosophy, definitely we need to show respect to the opponent. That's first thing. Because they are also trying their best. Yeah? And Cameroon, we don't need to mention, it's a powerhouse. And Kenya also beat in the last 2 games in the COSAFA and in the friendly Zimbabwe. So we must be there really aware that we find a realistic strategy and a good game plan to accept these challenges within the time frame we have available. Yeah. If you ask me in an ideal case, sure, I could give you what I really would like to play. In best case, we would like to dominate a game or at least dictate what is going on. That you are not. It's better when you can define the things, when you have things in your own hand. Yeah, that is the best. Yeah, but in many cases, a game is battled out during a match. Yeah, and a team which has maybe the better strategy, a little bit better tactical plan, and gets a little bit more commitment and discipline, gets the upper hand in the game and dominates it. Yeah. But I like to play football. I don't want to just kick a ball forward and run after it. Yeah, we should apply a style where the Zimbabwe players can really also display their talent. Yeah, and they have talent, that's for sure.
I am Veronica Gwaze from Zimbabwe Sport. My question is for the coach. Coach, considering that you have been unveiled today and with the short time that we have up to the AFCON qualifiers, do you think you have enough time to select your own team, or maybe for now you will be forced to make do with what they give you? And secondly, how much are you in touch with Zimbabwean football, especially the local based players?
Well, the time to select is enough. No? I think I did my homework. No? To be frankly honest, while I was still in Germany, I checked really, even for the interviews, I had to prepare myself. Yeah? I don't go into interviews without having a knowledge of Zimbabwe players. Last week, I checked all the players from outside which were representing or called up in for the Zimbabwe team. I found each individual. I think 25 plus 2 or 3. I found all of them and asked how they are. The one is injured, the one has no club. Yes, you have some good players who have no clubs at the moment. It will be difficult if you have no club to be selected for a national team. Yeah? You need match fitness, you need a regular outcome, and it's a little bit hurting because among them there are some very good players. Yeah? The local players, of course, I could follow them from the COSAFA games. Also from the other matches which I watched, there were many of them selected. In total, I think you selected, let me think, it was 19 and I think over 40 players. 45 around were selected in the last year for the national teams. Locals, half of them locals, half of them from outside. For sure is watching a game from distance, it's a difference than when you know the person, the player personally, his character. That I cannot really assess from distance. There I rely a lot on the people who work with them, who knows them. If a player would fit now in the plans for these games, but one thing is for sure, a player should never, even if he's selected now or not selected, a player should never get big-headed and think now he's in the team, and the others who are not selected should not throw the towel. A football team changes dynamically. Even when you look at the tournament, the big tournaments, it's very seldom that the team in the first game is the same like in the last game. It's changing. There will be a group of players we need to develop, maybe 3 players on each position which understand in the long run what we expect from them, that we really can react in case of injuries, of yellow card suspensions or other reasons when a player is not available. A team will be, in most cases, a mixture of the 10 provinces and international players. It wouldn't make sense to select 23, 25 players from outside. I don't believe in that. We also have to look who is available here, who can contribute. Sure is, some of them play on a very high level outside your country, which is, we cannot ignore this fact, and that must be respected when someone plays on that high level, but the door is for everybody open.
Alright, good afternoon, it's now afternoon. My name is Leopold Munende. I'm with Bora Africa magazine. My first question is to the NC chair. NC, those who are following live are asking that we ask you who are going to assist Mr. Nees. And then Mr. Nees, what was the motivation for you to apply for this position? We know our football has been down for quite some time. Some might say we are not the most attractive footballing country at the present moment, although we know we have been at the top in the past. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that question of who is going to assist Mr. Nees, when I spoke here, I think I was very clear when I said the technical committee is one that has been working closely with the TD in engaging Mr. Nees. They will sit down with Mr. Nees and come up with a strategy going forward, whether who they want to work with. They'll also have to hear his input, what he thinks. It's not as if he's a total stranger here. He actually knows a number of local coaches, having been based in South Africa. So I think as a committee we're going to sit down and come up with a formula. Where we might have wanted him to have 10 assistants, he might just want 1 or 2. So I think that discussion still has to be had. Thank you.
Okay, you asked what was the motivation, yeah? About 20 years ago, I was a very young coach. I was before working in Japan. 3 years I was doing projects for the German Football Association, giving A-license courses in the international scene with coaches from Africa, from all over the world. And someone liked it so much and he recommended me in a small island nation, Seychelles Island, which I yesterday met at the airport. And the first game in charge was in Zimbabwe. And I think there was a stampede 1 year before, and with a tragic incident. So the game, that was the first game Zimbabwe played, I think also after 1 year without a home match. And we played in the national stadium. And when we arrived there, you must know Seychelles has only 80,000 citizens that time. 80,000. And then some of them were joking, 20,000 more, the whole population will be in the country. We lost very narrow. When you look at the game, 3-1 at the end with a penalty and so. But and I said, look, you might be true, but I think we can beat you in 2-3 months, and that happened. But I was very impressed about the passion, about the potential, but also about the passion. Really, I mean, there's not many countries where 60,000 people would come in a stadium against the smallest country in Africa. That showed me really something. Whoa, this is a football country. A real football country, where this was packed, and that lasted. I observed, I followed Zimbabwe football from the distance, and when this opportunity arose, I applied. I found it very interesting to get now to close this circle after 20 years. And also followed the news that, I knew that Zimbabwe was banned with FIFA and then starting to come back. And I also think I've experienced with the countries which had a little bit troubled past. Kosovo, I was working 5 years there. When we started, there were 5 employees. It's the youngest football federation in FIFA. And when I left, there were 60 employees. So the growth was so quick, and I really, I can tell you now, people are a director of coaching, they were normal school teachers, and so on, which are really pushed forward. And I really think that is a little bit a similar situation. You start new, and you want to grow and exploit your potential. And I found this altogether then very attractive. But let me also say, I must really say the way the interview process was done. This was, I was in a few countries, in a few federations. This was really done in a very professional manner, and it was not easy. I don't know who studied all the CVs, but I think you studied all the 200 or 300 CVs which came in. That's a hell of a lot of work. And it was really done very detailed. And I really thought, hey, wow, this is a new experience in that way that things were handled. And this was, I felt from the first interview, so some sense of good atmosphere and really, how can I say, a positive spirit. And even though some of you guys, you attacked the federation, I also was reading these articles, don't get me wrong, but it was completely different. My perception was completely different what you were writing. And in a certain way, I trust also my life experience. I worked in many countries with many people from their countries inside, and I had a very good feeling. And of course, I did my best to convince the selection committee to be selected for this position. I think I made my points and finally was chosen. And so for me, this is it's not just about having a job. No, it's about really, can you realize ideas? Can you really move forward? Can you exploit the potential? But one thing is sure, you also need to pull on the same direction. If you had plenty of chances, I think you must also agree that you have to maybe also now together be realistic, positive realistic, and move together in a be fair with everybody and move in the right direction. I understand you have to write stories. That's your job. You need to make a living. But I just ask to be fair, to work together with everybody. Otherwise, if everybody pulls in the wrong direction, it will not work. No, that's for sure. I think you did that too often in the past. No? And I also think you never really, I don't think Zimbabwe ever really has exploited its full potential. You qualified, yes, you had success. The coaches also did a good job in the past. But if you're really honest to yourself, do you think Zimbabwe really performed to the real absolute potential? That you must answer by yourself. No? And then you must ask yourself, what can I do, even in your job, that we maybe can achieve that? Because at the end, it's also your team. It's everybody's team. A national team, it's the people's team. It's not my team or the chairman's team. It's also your team. It's the people's team. And I just and that was the reasons for me also to come here.
Okay, I'm Masango Ketweb from Simpepa Sports Hub. The fact that we have a normalization committee in the country leading our football, it reflects with the fact that there have been some abnormalities that have come through, and such abnormalities, one of them is having some of our coaches coming up and say FIFA hasn't paid us our dues, something like that. So to the chair, I would like to know who's responsible for paying the dues of the coach, because we have been having rumors, some highlighting it's FIFA or it's FIFA. So we would like to know who's responsible for that, and what structures have you set to make sure that we won't have such issues with our coach?
Thank you. I think it is an important question that you raise. As you'll appreciate, earlier on during normalization committee, we brought in a lot of local coaches. As we mentioned that time, it was because we didn't have the financial muscle to be able to go out and access a top-notch cost. Now, FIFA, in conversation or from, I think after our first games, they came back to us and said, no, we want you guys to be stable and to have a substantive coach. Go ahead and we'll underwrite or we'll guarantee that, whenever you have problems, they will be there to support us. So the person who is actually underwriting this is FIFA. They basically also allowed us to advertise for this on the FIFA panel, and they're very aware that in the past we have had these embarrassing situations where a coach cannot be paid and things like that. So as far as that is concerned, I think that is a thing of the past. As an association, we are working very closely with FIFA, and we are grateful for that. It's to me, it really is a blessing in disguise that we are able to engage coaches like this because of that opportunity that FIFA has availed to us. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon once again. My name is Lawrence Tuzira from the Zimbabwe Broadcasting Corporation. My question comes to you, Mr. My question comes to you, Mr. Chairman. Out of all the candidates that were there, and some that you also advertised, if we're looking just by CVs, it's obviously Micheal Nees was not probably the best candidate in terms of just looking at CVs. But as an association and maybe working with your committee, what made you to decide that, okay, fine, out of everything, out of all these interviews, this is the man to take Zimbabwean football forward?
Thank you, Larry. Basically, I think first of all, credit, although it's coming to the chairman, the chairman you wanted to talk to is Chairman Tasa from NC, or the chairman of technical committee, Mr. Shasha Dube. Anyway, the technical committee did go through all the names, but they had a criterion, and the criterion that we're looking at is basically past success, technical ability, as well as other factors that we're looking at. Even also diverse experience that the person brings to the job. And they were very, very close. A lot of very capable people did apply. And to me, out of all the candidates, I was pleased that they had chosen Mr. Nees. I'll tell you why. He comes across to me as somebody who has worked in challenging situations. He's a German, but he's worked in Israel. If many of you remember, the Second World War was basically Israel versus Germany. So for somebody who has such a character to be able to face, adversaries and create relationships, that to me was a plus. There are many factors, but that's not necessarily, that's how I felt, but how the technical committee might have felt, it might have been other issues. But to me, those were some of the issues that I looked at, and I feel a definite plus. It's somebody who will actually move us to another level. Thank you.
Okay. Ash Tikiwa from Star FM. My questions are for the coach. Coach, welcome. I picked up on what the NC chairman just said. You are the man to work in challenging situations. And I think it doesn't get any more challenging than us. Right now, we're playing in Uganda simply because Kenya chose Uganda. We are there. They could have taken us anywhere in Africa. Where they chose, we decided it's also convenient for us to play there. Just wanted to ask, Coach, I was also going through the statement we got when we got the advisory. You were the coach. He says something about the Warriors not being predictable or turning things around in a short space of time. But from your sentiments, you don't sound like the guy who wrote that. So just want to find out as well from you today, are there any realistic targets that you've got? You've also said, of course, there are time constraints here. Say you don't qualify for AFCON in this campaign. What are we talking about next year? We've got World Cup qualifiers. There's a COSAFA or two in there. Just paint us a picture. What does success look like from a realistic perspective? With you here, what have you discussed with your bosses? And then number two, you say you did your homework as well on players. We appreciate that. Just wanted to ask, we have a goal scoring issue. It's been probably a thing that's been there for years. You solved that, you're a genius, because a lot of coaches have struggled to solve that. So just wanted to find out, paint us a picture on the strikers or the goal scorers maybe you have in mind from the homework you've done, and just the appreciation of the kind of players we can have for our national team.
It's a lot of what you want to know. I hope I remember everything what you asked now. I think I start with the end. When you look at players, when you put them in positions, potential players, you have a lot of strikers. On paper, but of course, yes, they didn't score as many as they should have done. But you must look at the reasons, maybe why was it that case. So the players are playing on a high level, they're performing there. One plays in France, the other South Africa, the others play here in the local league, and they do their job. So you must look how what is the reason behind it, So, but you have good players. Sometimes it's the mixture. Sometimes it's the strategical approach. When you look, sometimes it's also a dose of luck. You hit 2 times the crossbar against Lesotho. It could have been 2 goals. It comes all together. The right people, the right structure, the right atmosphere, the right strategy can sometimes make a difference. Otherwise, if we accept that skills is a little bit something permanent, So why it is that some players perform in one team and in another they don't? So there must be something behind. And I believe that we with the staff then really can release that energy, that they can really show what they're capable of. No? You have from some positions, you have more players, and in other positions there are not so many, in the long run. Yeah? That I must really say. Yeah? But I'm sure we will find a good squad. Regarding the goals, the objectives, we need to embark in a good start. You can have quantitative objectives to say we must have a win. That's a quantitative objective, or qualitative objective, which is how you play, with what energy, with what discipline, with what style. And if you come out of a game and you can say we did everything in our power to give a good performance, then very often the quantitative objective or the result will follow. Yeah? We must not separate that. Yeah? You must play decent football with confidence, with discipline, with passion, in order to have the results. Yeah? The first is to apply that, and then the second will follow. Yeah? Then the first part of your question, I must really admit now, you must quickly repeat it. I don't know.
Are there any realistic targets and objectives in light of, I think, the statement that was issued upon your announcement, where you mentioned that you were able to achieve results in a short space of time? Is that correct, Ash?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was for me, but a little bit longer ago. Yeah? And the time is not short, it's very short. Yeah? We must admit. Yeah, we are under time pressure, absolutely. But I really think that I have experience in first I worked in association football, mostly. Yeah? And if you would hire now a club coach has a lot of time always. They can say what they want, but they have 6 weeks pre-season, they have this, they have that. But when you work in association football with federations, there is always a lack of time. There's always a lack of time and time pressure. So I really had to learn a little bit the hard way to make use of every minute available. I developed my own strategies, my own way of doing, my own training. It starts even in the warming up. When you have a team 6 weeks together, yes, you can do. But when you have only 3-4 sessions for a game, you must maybe even think, what can we do in warming up, which is related to our organization formation. And I really think I had to learn the hard way, because I was always under time pressure, because I worked in association football, not so much in club football. And I'm really confident that I can say that I can use time very efficient. But of course, we are also a brand new. I mean, the staff also doesn't know me. The players don't know me. No? So we must get the message really quickly over to them, and that is definitely not easy. We are under a lot time pressure. Huh? No? I mean, the ideal case would be we would go tomorrow with a local team in camp until departure, and then I would have a week to assess the players. I would make a preliminary squad. Like other countries, they announce 40 players. We could do that straight away. But I think you wouldn't be happy with a squad of 40 players right now. So if we would be in camp, and then next week we could assess everybody 1 week, and then we would a little bit more further. But you also have responsibilities. Your local league has to continue. They have international commitments now over the weekend. That's why I said before, we really have to work all together in one direction. There is no other way. No? You can be critical, yes, that's your duty. But we must be realistic what time we have available. I think that I learned it to use time efficiently. I will apply that in the best possible way. And I think if we can create a very good mood and a very good atmosphere, we can really achieve very positive results. I say it exactly in that way. Yeah. And but we also have to respect the opponent. I always use also to study the opponents by studying what the press says. And I always use when the press says, we're going to beat them, I use for my own motivation for my own team. Yeah? So you must be careful what you're writing. Maybe the opponent will read that and say, hey, look how arrogant they are. They're already talking about how high they beat us, but they have a new coach, they have only a few days, and at the end you motivate the opponent. We must be a little bit humble, positive, self-confident, but also a little bit humble, and then we get it going. And we must not talk about the talent always. It's a talent to talk about the talent, but we need a talent to perform on the pitch and not to talk about talent. That's a different story. No? Football on the paper is different than on the pitch. And when you always say how good we are, we have players here, we have players there, and this, and in the end, how can it be you lose, or you lost a game against this team in the past or that? It's maybe you talk too much about the talent. And maybe you should also talk about the opponent. Look what's happening in Kenya. They beat the last 2 times, they beat Zimbabwe. Hey, what's going on there? They are in the World Cup qualifier actually in a decent position. Now what's going on? That's also questions which are interesting. Yeah? But I think if we really can embark in we have no time to waste, that's for sure. We must go straight to business, that's for sure. Yeah.
Thank you, guys. I think we're going to take 3 more questions, starting with Mr. Titch, and then we'll wrap it up. Obviously, the chairman, the SG, as well as the coach, they're going to be available, and you can have a bit of a natter on the sidelines. But in terms of our official proceedings, we'll take 3 more questions, and then we're done.
Hi, Michael. Titch from ZTN. I'm just going to piggyback off what Ash was saying in terms of your objectives. Maybe phrase it a little differently. I know it's just day one on the job, but maybe speaking on behalf of the owners of the game, that's the fans. What do you want your legacy to be when you're done with the Warriors, and what can they expect from you as a football coach? And then secondly, in terms of your assistants, I understand you guys are still trying to finalize that. What are the qualities that you're looking for in your assistants, in your technical team?
Okay, like before it was said, the technical stuff is in due process. It would be a little bit earlier to say something. The staff must add value. Very simple. If you have a copy of me in the staff, then it wouldn't be add value. Yeah? Because then it would be just a copy. Yeah? You need always complement each other on the pitch, off the pitch. Yeah? That really is something, and of course commitment, technical understanding. Yeah, you need also loyalty. Yeah, towards working together to accept the role. That's also very important. Yeah, so there's a lot of things which plays a role. I must also admit I engage with some staff. Actually, I'm surprised. No? Really, no, I don't give you now, but I engage, and they also have qualities. No? So from that, then objectives. You say, yes, you must break them down. I think if we can say in the final round of these AFCONs that we still have it in our hands, I think that would be a nice objective. That we are not dependent on others. Yeah, if we really can say, hey, we have still a chance to go there. Yeah? I mean, I don't think it would be very arrogant to say now we must collect 6 months out of 6 games, and then the games are coming. 2 games, 4 days rest, not a lot. Traveling, outside players, local players. We cannot play at home. That's a big minus. But there are 3 teams which cannot play at home. It's not only us. The only team is Cameroon, right? In the next 6 games. It's a big advantage for them, no doubt. Absolute big advantage. And it was also a discussion about where the game could take place. And as Kenya wanted to play in Uganda, then there was the questions, do you invest a lot of money to travel to South Africa to play Cameroon, lose a day of traveling where you cannot do anything, or do you stay there in Uganda and use the experience you had before? So, and the decision was made that we stayed there. I also have some contacts to Uganda, a friend of mine who works there, not in football, and I forwarded these contacts. And so we must just make sure that we have that we can train decently. Yeah, that's not so easy in these countries. That we can use the time again, what we had before. That we can use the time as efficient as possible there. That is very important for Cameroon. It doesn't make it doesn't make a difference if they jet over to Uganda or South Africa. They're used to that. They come with a charter flight. I'm 100% sure. I played against them already, and that's what they do. They come with a charter flight. I don't know. They have resources from appearances in World Cups and sponsors, so they can do that. We would have had to fly line, and I think that's the right decision. But the federation decided, and we must now just make the best possible use of it. But sure, we would love to play a home game. Yeah, that's a real home game. I'm sure everybody. Yeah.
Hey, how are you, Nees? Bruce Chikunu from Sports Hub. I wanted to ask how much do you know about Kama Billiard, and also people want to know if he's in your wish list.
And first question is,
I wanted to know how much.
If I know Makama Billiard, of course. I don't know him personally, but of course I was in South Africa. I followed African football. Nowadays this is more easy with the modern technologies. You can even watch on Facebook sometimes a local game or things. So I followed football. I worked 4 years in South Africa. I know some players, what impact they had in South Africa, and Kama Billiard made a big influence there. There's no doubt. Then and he came back home, and it looks like he, how can you say? It's like a second honeymoon, or can you say that in English? He's the leading goal scorer, or up to the leading goal scorer. And let's wait what we can do. But I'm also honest. I engage with many players. Also, the one or other from outside, maybe because of age, family responsibilities, or past experiences. He said, no, I don't want. No? But we have to respect that also. No? I hope that every good player is available, makes himself available, is hungry to represent his country, and always the players who are there are the best available. So those who are then there and selected, we must talk about them. They are the best available in that moment. No? And we hope that every player cannot make the current federation responsible for anything what happens in the past. Yeah, I like the word actually, normalization. It's from FIFA also. Yeah, and it's exactly what it is about. Normalize the culture of how do you operate, how you deal with people, how you you do something. I do not know if in the past was promised milk and honey. I do not know, and then the promises couldn't be fulfilled. That is beyond my time. I can only say how I work and how I operate, and I try to show that the players and the staff, and my experience so far really here, even in the interviews, I must repeat it again, are really positive. No?
Good afternoon. My name is Rimbum Kunditsa from Heart and Soul TV. My question is, looking at the background, Ziva has a lot of coaches who went. So my question is, do you think the blame has to go to the coaches, or maybe there's a need for a change of administration?
For me?
Yes, to the coach.
No. Look, a head coach has the final responsibility. He's at the end accountable. Yes, but no coach operates in a vacuum or on an island. I mean, why does big coaches travel with a staff of 10 friends to their next job? Because they create their own way. No, they know each other. So no coach operates in isolation. Yeah, you have staff, you have administration, organization. Football is decided on the pitch and off the pitch. On the pitch, of course, the players, they must perform the strategy by the coach. But for example, if you would invite a player and he would have traveled to China and then to New York and then back to Zimbabwe in an exaggerated way, he would be difficult for him to perform, because he would be 36 hours on the flight. Yeah? I had in my past really experiences also to work not only as a coach but also as a technical director, as a director of coaching, in team management, in the World Cup support, in a supportive role on behalf of FIFA. And it influenced me a lot that a team behind a team, and the team behind the team is not only the technical staff, it's the whole federation, is very important for success. We all have to work together. Can repeat that? This is not a federation which has a staff of 50 employees, right? I think you have. I asked before. I think it's below 10. So people have to fulfill double roles. That's sometimes a lot of work. You are responsible for that. You have to do this at the same time. So the most important thing is that everybody gives his best and does it with good intentions and not with ill feelings. And I think really then we can really achieve positive results and success.
Thank you very much, Coach, and thank you very much, colleagues. We do have some nibbles for you before you leave, so do please take a few minutes to hang around the association and grab yourself some lunch before you leave. But thank you so much for coming. I would like to invite the Technical Director of the Zimbabwe Football Association, Mr. Jethro Hunizarida, to give us a vote of thanks. TD, if you could grab the mic at the front. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, madam. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, esteemed members of the media, all football enthusiasts, can I take this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude to each one of you who has joined us today to come and witness this significant milestone in our national team's history. The unveiling of our new head coach marks a new chapter in our journey towards excellence, and we are thrilled to have Coach Micheal Nees at the helm. As we move forward, our focus remains unwaveringly on success and development, and I'm confident that Coach Nees possesses the expertise the passion and leadership qualities necessary to take our team to greater heights. His track record, combined with his vision for the team's development, aligns perfectly with our association's goals and objectives. I would like to assure the nation that we have undertaken a rigorous selection exercise to ensure that the best candidate was chosen for this critical role. Coach Nees has demonstrated a deep understanding of our team's strengths and weaknesses, and we are excited to see these strategies coming to work and these tactics coming to fruition. As we embark on this new journey, I would like to emphasize the importance of unity and collective effort. Our team's success is not solely on the coach nor the players, but it requires the support and collaboration of all the stakeholders, including the media, the sponsors, and most importantly, the fans. I would like to extend my sincere appreciation to you, Coach Micheal Nees, for accepting this challenging yet rewarding role. We are confident that your leadership will inspire the players to perform at their best, and I am honored to be part of that journey. In conclusion, I would like to leave you with a quote from the great Nelson Mandela. Sports has the power to unite people and to change the world. Let us all work together to make sure that our national teams progress and become the pride that we always had of our nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, TD, and once again, colleagues, thank you so much for coming through. Let's just give one more round of applause for the new head coach of the Zimbabwe men's national team, Micheal Nees. And Michael, apart from having a very good name, Michael, this coming from another Michael, welcome to Zimbabwe, coach, and we wish you the best in your first two assignments which are coming through next month. Thank you so much. And to the SG and to the chairman, thank you for being here. Guys, we do have eats. Please grab yourself a plate. Thank you.